If you were struggling to find work in the UK, would you consider moving your family over 10,000 miles away from loved ones in search of regular work and a better life?
Jimmy has found it impossible to get work as a bricklayer in Leeds, and it's brought the family to the edge of financial ruin.
Money-wise in the UK had been a massive struggle.
At one point we was at brink of having to sell the house.
He dreams of a place he can work and build a future for his children, but wife Nicola won't be going anywhere if the sums don't add up.
Can't do it.
It's not even workable. This could be enough to just stop it all now.
And the thought of leaving her family, who live on the same street, is terrifying.
Knowing if I need them, they're not going to be here.
Leaving behind their life in Leeds will be too difficult if they can't see a future in Australia. When emotions are running high, they have to make the hardest decision they'll ever have to face, whether to go where they're wanted down under. With its hot climate and over 10,000 beaches, Australia is a popular destination for Brits. Over 35,000 people emigrate there every year. We're giving one family the chance to see if their dream of a new life down under really could give them a better future. They've got just 1 week to find out. Bricklayer Jimmy Cliff and his wife Nicola live in Leeds with their 3 sons: Connor, age 9, Reese, who's 7, and Ethan, age 6. They dream of a better quality of life, but there's one key reason they're considering a move.
I have been out of work for quite a while due to recession. Jobs are few and far between, and there's maybe 40-50 bricklayers going for the same job.
Scaffolding earns him less than half the money he'd get as a brickie, and they've really struggled to make ends meet.
At one point we was at brink of having to sell the house due to financial issues, and that's probably what helped give us the drive to go try and move to Australia. There is a lot of pressure, because at the moment I feel like I'm letting everyone down.
Jimmy's brother moved to Australia 2 years ago, and he hopes following him could give them all a new lease of life. But he had to talk Nicola round first.
When Jimmy first mentioned about going to Australia, it just didn't appeal to me at all. I've never really wanted to go anywhere else, but with the situation over here being financially hard and struggling, he sort of convinced me that it'd be a good thing to do. I want to go to give the boys as good a start as they can. I'm worried that over here, by the time they'll get out of school, there'll be nothing for them, no jobs, no way to make their own way in life.
But Nicola struggles with the thought of leaving loved ones behind.
I would find it the hardest to make the move. I definitely know already I get butterflies thinking about leaving everything behind.
Jimmy's nan brought him up, so leaving her would be a huge wrench.
Hardest person for me to leave is my nana. I think knowing that if I did leave her I'd never see her again, maybe, is very worrying for me. I find it very hard to leave her behind.
It's vital that the Cliffs find out if Australia will live up to their dreams. Without the lifestyle they long for or work for Jimmy, the heartache of leaving loved ones behind might be too much. They have just 1 week to make up their minds.
Jimmy's bricklaying experience is in demand all over the country, but it's vital they end up in the right area. We could send them to Perth, which boasts more hours of sunshine than any other state capital. The average family home is expensive, at more than £300,000. However, Western Australia is expected to experience a 17% decline in new construction projects in 2010 and 2011, so Jimmy might not find work easy to come by. Alternatively, we could send them to Adelaide, where over 2,000 Brits settle each year. Here there should be plenty of jobs available as the building industry is enjoying a small boom. Houses are cheap too, with an average price of £255,000. This could be the affordable option they're looking for. Their final potential destination is the Gold Coast. Here they'd be near to Jimmy's brother. But with property prices averaging £296,000, affording the kind of home they'd even consider leaving Leeds for might be a real problem.
3 very different options, each with plenty to offer. Taking everything into account, we decided that Adelaide would suit them best.
There should be plenty of jobs for Jimmy. Property prices are reasonable and there's lots of beaches to keep the children happy. Over the next week, the Cliffs will trial every aspect of Australian life to see if it really could offer them a better future. They'll discover that finding the right property in Australia could be a challenge.
At the moment, it's making me doubt even wanting to come out.
Jimmy will find out if bricklaying jobs will be easier to find than in the UK.
So if you can wall them straight and wall a few down, you've got a chance of making a bit more money.
Yeah, definitely.
But Nicola struggles with the thought of leaving the family she's so close to.
The biggest worry about this week is going to be that here we're kind of stuck by ourselves.
They'll all struggle with hearing what their loved ones think.
Don't leave.
But at the end of their week, they'll have to decide if they should stay in the UK with everyone they know or cross the world in search of a new life and a better future. After spending 23 hours flying over 3 continents, the Cliff family arrive in Adelaide, 10,000 miles from Leeds. And the realisation of just how far they've come has hit home.
It's not as easy as you'd think. It's not a journey you want to do every year. And it is rather hard to believe that we've actually got here at the moment.
No, the lads don't, well, the 2 little ones don't even realise they're in Australia at all.
They might not be interested right now, but it's not just Nicola and Jimmy who need to be convinced. It's important the boys can settle too. The first test is their home for the week. It's in the popular but affordable area of Brompton, less than 15 minutes from the centre of town. Family friendly with 3 bedrooms, a large living space and even a pizza oven, they should be able to settle in here.
And then let's see what we've got. 4 beds.
Oh, wow. Their own bed each.
And we get to sleep downstairs.
The boys seem happy, but Nicola's not impressed.
It'd be a starter place. I don't think I could see myself moving into it permanently. As a base, to come over and start afresh, it'd be okay.
They've got some serious issues they need to address as quickly as possible.
I need to see if work's a definite possibility out here for me, whether I'll be able to cope with weather, whether I could earn enough money.
With so much to find out, they'll need to get plenty of rest for the week ahead. At the end of it, they'll have to make the decision one way or the other, and it won't be easy. Back in the UK, the Cliffs live in a 3-bedroom semi-detached house in Leeds. They're in the process of renovating, but have already put in lots of effort to make it a home to be proud of. However, with only 3 bedrooms, Reese and Ethan have to share. They'd consider a renovation project in Australia if it meant they could get enough space, but even then it's going to be a difficult search. Finding the right house in Adelaide is essential, but which would suit them best? Suburbs like Prospect are only 15 minutes from the city centre and offer classic 1940s housing. But what you gain in convenience and location, you do pay for. This 3-bedroom home offers a beautiful finish, separate office and a pool, but it's on the market for £420,000. City living might just prove too expensive for the Cliff family. Another option would be to look in the countryside, where property is generally cheaper and comes on larger plots. However, staying within easy driving distance of the city dramatically raises the price. Crayfors West is only 30 minutes from the centre, and this impressive 3-bedroom house would give spacious living areas and even a pool. But the price tag of £355,000 would mean taking a huge mortgage. Almost everyone's Australian dream involves access to the sand and sea. This £375,000 home in West Beach, only 25 minutes from town, would be something to aim towards in the future. It's got a stunning living space, 3 big bedrooms and a large garden, but a commute of just over an hour would be too much for Jimmy.
With finances so tight, they're happy to consider any area, as long as they can afford it.
With a maximum budget of £200,000 to spend, we're going to show them 3 houses, one in the city, one by the coast and one in the country, to give them a realistic idea of what's available. First up, the city. Property number 1 is located in the northwestern suburb of Pennington. With industrial areas close by, property is generally cheaper than the city average. This 3-bedroom house is under budget at £190,000.
Always a bit wider than ours, isn't it?
They'll need any money that's left over to update it a little.
It's not as long as ours is, though. The window's nice size.
Yeah, there's plenty of light in.
With 5 of them to fit in, space is an issue straight away.
This is
A lot
very
smaller,
small.
Nicola isn't being won over.
It's an alright size.
Yeah.
Depends on the size of the other rooms.
Yeah, I was going to say,
really.
for first bedroom to look at, it's alright, innit?
Connor wants to upgrade from the box room he has in Leeds.
Would you prefer a bedroom as big as this?
Yeah.
Yeah.
They need to see something special to win them over, but this bathroom doesn't stand a chance.
Small bathroom.
There's no bath space.
It's kind of affected the whole view and the whole house on it.
And it's all going downhill.
This is a real disappointment. It's far too small. Really dull.
Dull is one word for it, and they're really not impressed by what they can afford here.
The entire garden's undercover, but for a family with young children, this just don't work, does it? No. Whatsoever.
A big disappointment, really, by the time we've gone through the whole house.
Well, depending on land prices, you would probably be better off knocking this house down and rebuilding, because you'd have more to show for your money than what this actually offers. I can safely say I just don't like it.
Property 1 has been a major shock and they're not happy. They wouldn't leave Leeds for this, so let's hope Property 2 can turn things around. In the popular but affordable suburb of Seaford, this house is only a short stroll to the beach and offers them 5 bedrooms, a decent-sized living space and an even bigger garden, all for £185,000. Nicola needs to see a vast improvement and they're feeling a little more positive.
Different. This is more like a room size we'd want for his living room.
Yeah. First impressions, it's a lot better.
But it doesn't last long.
Yeah, the kitchen obviously needs to change.
It's a lot smaller than I thought. It all needs sort of ripping out and starting again, so...
With 2 small bedrooms, they're struggling to imagine living here.
Oh, another bedroom.
Another room, but there's not enough space in any of the rooms to fit a full-size family. Don't think it's showing any value for money whatsoever.
No. They seem to be putting a price on sunshine more than property, don't they?
Yeah.
Not happy.
The master bedroom doesn't impress either.
It's a bit small if it's the main bedroom, though.
It is, isn't it?
Not really what I was hoping for at all.
I'm starting to worry a little bit about the house prices.
You're just not getting...
You're not getting as much as I originally thought.
At the moment, it's making me doubt even wanting to come out.
The reality of what they can afford is hitting home, and it hurts.
I really don't like this property at all.
No.
Only thing it's got going for it is the garden. The house.
It's not enough to draw you to it.
No.
Unfortunately, this one's just not for us. I didn't think we had that low a budget, but it's proving to be working against us at the moment.
Property 1 and 2 have totally failed to impress. Each would require more work than they'd imagined, and their dream is slipping away. Property 3 surely can't fail to impress. Located in the country suburb of Happy Valley, this house is just over budget at £205,000, but has 4 bedrooms, a large living space and an office. The boys are bored of house hunting, so they get to burn off some energy in the garden while Jimmy and Nicola explore on their own.
Looks so much better already.
It does, doesn't it?
Whitewashed walls.
Looks fresher. But yeah, this has got plenty of potential and it's decent enough to work with, isn't it? You could cope with it for quite a while before you did out with it.
So it's not the fixer-upper they wanted, but it doesn't seem to matter.
Now this is much better, isn't it?
This is a lot nicer.
I really do like this.
This is nice. It's not as big as I'd hoped. You're going to struggle if we put the sofas in the way we have at home.
Yeah, I'll give it an 8 out of 10.
It's a huge improvement. There's 3 decent-sized rooms for the children, and if the master bedroom impresses the Cliffs, we might just have a winner here.
Now this is better.
Wow.
This is far better.
4 rooms.
For decent-sized rooms.
Decent double room.
Yes, this is perfect.
Couldn't expect anything more. Just a slightly less price so we could afford it.
It was all going so well, but £5,000 over budget could be a problem.
The garden's nice, plenty of room. Garden shed to keep all the tools in.
Yeah, I think this is perfect, isn't it?
Ticks most of the boxes.
It's ticked every box bar price, hasn't it?
But Nicola's still having doubts.
At the moment, I'm still in 2 minds as to whether or not this would be the perfect idea to come out here.
The Cliff family has seen 3 properties in 3 very different areas. Whilst the first 2 were a little under budget, they were a huge disappointment. Property number 3 was almost perfect for them, but it would stretch their budget ever so slightly. Nicola wanted a house she'd be happy to bring her boys up in. They need to have seen enough to make them consider leaving their home in Leeds. It's time to vote.
Today's been a day full of mixed emotions, looking at houses here in Australia.
It seems properties a bit further afield from the city are a bit more reasonably priced and better value for money. So our votes for the property in Australia versus the UK is...
Australia.
Kingdom. If I could guarantee we'd have a bit more money to come over with and maybe look at the more expensive property, the last one, then I would definitely have chosen Australia. As it stands at the moment, I wouldn't want to give up what I already have for a wing that we possibly can't have.
Property 3 might have won Jimmy over, but Nicola's struggling to see the dream. They hoped for far more from the properties here, but seeing them for themselves has brought the reality of their situation home.
The houses they can afford in Australia haven't blown the Cliffs away. Money is a huge issue, and it's essential that Jimmy finds regular work and earns a good wage. If he can't, then the whole move might fall apart.
Back in Leeds, Jimmy has struggled to find work as a bricklayer. Nicola's had to become the family's main breadwinner, but Jimmy dreams of being able to return to the job he loves and becoming the provider again.
I miss bricklaying terribly. It's I have a lot of pride in my work. I always feel when a job's done to be able to look back on and know that I've left some mark on the world.
Things need to look up in Australia. Jimmy spent the last 6 months labouring as a scaffolder, and although he's grateful for the work, finances have been tight.
Money-wise in UK has been a massive struggle. I was out of work for the best part of a year. If I hadn't have had that bit of work, then I honestly think we would have lost the house.
Just finding out that work would be relatively easy to come by would go a long way to convincing Jimmy it's the right move to make. We've arranged for him to meet with Jason McKenzie, who owns a local bricklaying company, to find out more about what he could expect from working here.
Jason. Jimmy, how you going? Hi, nice to meet you.
Jason's putting Jimmy to work with two local lads, Reg and Ben.
Yeah, right, mate. It's like sharper sand than what we use.
Is that the size we normally would do over in the UK?
What they tend to do is if you've got land like the size of this house, they will probably tend to try to squeeze 2 or 3 houses on one plot.
Jimmy's keen to find out exactly how the different climate would affect work.
What days do you work here, is it?
Most people, if they want to work year-round, they can just about get away with it. Summer can be pretty hot, you can get mid-40s.
I dread to think what it could be like in the middle of summer here.
Next to 10 degrees. Probably in January you wouldn't want to be standing right there.
I've always had problems with cold. I've never really liked working in cold. I'd much rather be warm and sweaty than cold and shivering. I don't think there's a lot worse than being cold.
And you'll be working a lot together.
Whilst Jimmy's getting to put Australian bricklaying to the test, with money tight, Nicola wants to see what Adelaide has to offer free of charge. Bike South Australia rents a range of free-to-hire bikes from their central office, and the boys are keen to give BMXing a try. Nicola's priorities are to make sure that Connor, Reese and Ethan will be happy and settled, and free activities are a real bonus.
It's a perfect day out, really. Nice, sunshine, couldn't ask for anything more. It reminds you why you want to be here.
But their money worries are a real threat to Jimmy's dream.
90% of the reason we even considered applying for a visa over here was to help Jimmy be able to stay in the work that he loves. But the biggest worry about this week is going to be if we find out Jimmy can't earn as much as he needs to replace both the wages, so if his salary doesn't cover it, it's not really much hope.
And the idea of leaving her close-knit family terrifies Nicola.
I know if everything falls under us, my mum and dad are still there to pick it up. Here, we're kind of stuck by ourselves. I think it's just knowing if I need them, they're not going to be here.
Nicola's heart is torn. If she wouldn't ever get over the trauma of leaving loved ones, she'll never settle in Australia. Back at the building site, Jimmy's really taking to working in the dry heat. But if he can't afford to support the family here, he'll be back scaffolding in freezing Yorkshire.
What kind of money would we be talking roughly for me if I was coming over here working in Australia?
With residential, we'd probably start around $27 Australian per hour. That can range right up to $35. It just depends on what sort of quality the person brings to the table as far as work skills.
So if you can wall them straight and wall a few down, you've got a chance of making a bit more money.
Yeah, definitely.
That works out between £600 and £850 a week, almost £100 more than Jimmy could earn in the UK.
From what I've seen, you've got all the qualities there, so yeah, keep in touch and we'll definitely go from there.
All right, thanks a lot, mate. Looking forward to meeting you again.
No worries, Jim.
Thank you very much. Take care.
It's a huge weight off Jimmy's mind, and I think I know which way he might vote.
Had a really great day, had a wonderful experience walling again. The wages I'm very impressed with. I should be able to make a decent living for me and my family. So my final decision is going to be Australia. I can't see any reason at the moment why I couldn't live out here. I'd be absolutely delighted to get back into walling again. Today's let me do something that I haven't done for quite a while. It's a job that I do enjoy. And yes, I'd love to be able to say that I could get a permanent career walling over here in Australia.
Jimmy's dream of finding regular work and a good wage looks possible. Now there's the small matter of convincing Nicola and the children. The Cliff family from Leeds have already had a draining week. They found out that it was virtually impossible to get a house with enough space on their budget. Jimmy was excited to discover that he'd be able to return to the job he loves and earn more money. But if it isn't enough to live off, the dream could shatter. They have to find out if the lifestyle would suit them, but it might not be enough when the pain of leaving loved ones breaks their hearts.
Don't leave.
They've only got a few days left until they have to make the biggest decision of their lives.
That's great news on the work front. But if they can't envisage the children being happy and settled, the whole move could be off.
Nicola and Jimmy want to make sure that their 3 sons get the most from their time here. Getting up close to some of the Aussie wildlife is top of their list of priorities. So we've brought them to Glenelg Marina to take a ride on a catamaran and possibly see some dolphins. There's an age restriction to swim with the dolphins, so whilst Connor and Jimmy get to put on the wetsuits, Nicola, Reese and Ethan are tasked with spotting the elusive creatures. And it's not long until they get lucky.
Dolphin! Where? There. Two!
Okay, guys, got a good sized pod up ahead of us just here, so our swim's happening straight away.
Jimmy and Connor are taking to the water well, but for Nicola, thoughts of what she would be giving up are never far away.
I'd love to bring the whole family with me. It'd make any move 10 times easier on me. But unfortunately, it's not the case. And they will have to be left behind.
They want to move not only for Jimmy to find work, but to give their boys a better lifestyle and future. They'll all need convincing to take the plunge and make the move. But first, it's time to get back into the water.
They think they've seen some more dolphins.
Stop! Here they come! Heads down, guys! Right there! Right there! Right there! Right there! Oh, perfect!
Jimmy hopes the trip will leave the whole family with positive memories.
Certainly never imagined to be able to swim with dolphins this soon and getting into Australia whatsoever. The only thing that can maybe beat this is if we actually get to say that we've done it whilst we lived in Australia.
Connor and Jimmy might have had all the fun in the water, but on the surface, Reese and Ethan are taking charge. Let's hope Skipper Steve is keeping a close watch over them.
We're heading towards those buildings. We're looking pretty good, I reckon. Away, left hand down. Beautiful, done well.
Oh no, go on Ethan, you've got to give his boat back.
With 3 energetic boys, finding the outdoors life was key for Nicola. And whilst trips like this wouldn't happen every weekend, it might just help persuade them that moving to the other side of the world wouldn't be too bad.
Enjoy the rest of your stay.
Thank you.
Safely back on dry land, it's time for the Cliff family to decide if the lifestyle has met their expectations.
We've just had a wonderful day out, and our decision on the lifestyle in the UK and Australia is...
Australia! I'm surprised you voted Australia, Ethan. I thought you were going to vote UK, but it's sailing the boat that changed your mind.
Yeah.
I think the kids have started to realise that there's more out there than they actually thought there was, and I think that's definitely helped in forcing their decision into picking Australia.
So after a tiring day on the water, the Cliffs have been convinced that their lifestyle could be better in Australia. But only time will tell if it's enough to persuade them to make the move permanently.
The Cliff family have fallen for the lifestyle down under, but they'll never be able to afford it unless they can get a really good price for their home back in Leeds.
With the boys playing outside, Nicola and Jimmy get to see if their house really is worth the £150,000 they hope for. We've sent 2 estate agents round to see if that's realistic.
Modern kitchen. Compact.
That's a nice way to put small.
Beautiful lounge. Access to dining room. Contemporary. French doors.
This property has a newly modernised fitted kitchen with a rear double glazed window view to the rear back garden.
Great. I was thinking that.
Good size master bedroom. Large front window. Storage space. Unusual style bathroom. Good sized double bedroom. Wooden floors. Cluttered. Ample storage space.
This is the box room of the property, which is used as a bedroom at present, but ideally it could be used as a study room.
Time to find out if it's really worth £150,000.
But 3-bed semi-detached, very good size, ideal for first-time buyers, young families, very close to public transport links, good amenities, local schools, very, very good access. I recommend we keep the price at £149,000, but for a forced sale we look at £145,000.
I would value this house in the region of £160,000. For a quick sale, I would put it in the region of £155,000.
It's worth a little more than they thought, but having seen the property in Australia, they were hoping for a better price.
I was kind of hoping it'd go for a bit more, but I suppose where house prices have dropped at the moment, it's more what I was expecting. Yes, I do like the house, it's home, but building a home for your family is one of the easiest, to be honest. It's providing a lot of other things for your children that are harder than creating a home, isn't it?
After scrimping and saving to pay the bills in the UK, they need to know they can afford a better future in Australia, or the move could fall apart. Nicola hopes not to work while the boys settle in, but they need to know if that's realistic. We've prepared a cost comparison so they can work out if they really can make Jimmy's wage stretch.
Okay, so I'll have a look.
I'll do calculating.
I can have my tea. That's cheaper. Soups. That's like triple.
Thank you.
All your bananas. 27p for ours, 173 for theirs.
Yeah.
That's
not a good start,
news.
is it? Only £50 a week down already. What's next?
Okay,
What
let's
we got?
have a look at the property prices, since we've just seen that.
Monthly repayments for property 3, which was the one we liked.
Yeah,
I mean,
over
them
£1,000
two.
a month. That's not good. So we've got 1,050.
Plus 55.
160.
Plus 160.
20. So 2,865.50. And
We already know there,
down,
we can
so
see. Minus.
take away your 2,447. So we are down
£483 worse enough for that. Can't do
It's
it.
not even workable.
It kind of says you have to go back to work, doesn't it? For us to be able to make ends meet here whatsoever. I certainly thought we would have had more chance than that.
With a huge drop in their finances, the dream life has turned into an economic nightmare.
If we can't afford a home we want, and the compromise is putting up with a house that I can't stand to be in 24 hours a day with the kids, then that's just not even an option.
No.
This could be enough to just stop it all now.
This is going to make their final decision even tougher, but for now they've got to pull themselves together to vote on the cost of living.
Today's been one of the most important things we've had to consider, and unfortunately it's been rather disappointing.
So our decision is
UK.
Finances are essential wherever you are, and if the sums don't work, it's not a lot we can do.
Unfortunately, with Nick trying not to go to work, it still pushes Australia slightly out of our budget.
It is definitely hanging in the balance now as to whether or not we choose to come out here.
For the Cliff family, moving to the other side of the world means facing the heartache of leaving loved ones behind. After seeing their messages, can they tear themselves away?
We've prepared a DVD for them to view.
Hi, Nicola, Jimmy. Hi, kids.
Hey, guys.
Very outgoing, isn't it, Jimmy?
Yeah.
Very outgoing.
If you want anything, if you've only got to ask him.
I have 3 boys, and I've always had a soft spot for Jim.
He loves his boys, he loves his wife, and the rest of his family. The children are fantastic, Connor, Reese and Ethan.
They're all lovable children. I always get a kiss and a cuddle.
Connor is, he can be really loud at times, but really funny. When he plays football, he like dances, like when he tries to get the ball.
They're in and out of the house, constantly playing. The cousins are always on the computers with each other. And if they're not, one's always asking to go down there or come up here.
Nicola is very sensitive and a homely kind of person.
She's more of the sort of the linchpin than David and I are.
She's very close to her sisters, and I think if she did go, then she'd be thinking about them all the time.
I'd leave a big hole in your life.
Yes. I'm not one of the weekend grandmas. The children and Nicola and Jimmy have always been around. Can't imagine them not having them here.
Wake up one morning, it'll be, where's Uncle Richard and Trigger? They're back home in England. You know. Oh, when can we go see them? When's Connor, Reese and Ethan coming over? No, they're not. We might see them at Christmas.
Don't leave. We'll miss them. Really, really miss them. But by the same token, I wouldn't want to stand in the way.
Give it a good try.
You give it a go and see how you go on.
When you make the decision, you make it for you as a family. It's because it's what you want to do. Whatever you decide, me and your dad.
Don't worry about us.
We'll be sat here waiting for you when you come home, though.
We certainly will.
The messages have reminded them of what moving would really mean. For one member of the family, the thought of leaving is too much.
Come here, bud.
Seeing their son so upset has taken Nicola and Jimmy aback.
I'm a little bit surprised that he's getting so emotional. It's quite upsetting to see, to be honest. It makes me feel slightly guilty that he's feeling like this, but I do think he would adapt, and I do think he'd be okay if we chose to come out here.
I think leaving your life behind, basically, and starting again would be the hardest decision anyone would have to make. I think it's just the initial saying goodbyes and leaving certain people behind that are the issues more than all.
It is the hardest choice we've ever had to make. As a family, as individual people, it would drag your family to the other side of the world isn't really an easy choice to make.
Oh dear.
Emotions are running high for the Cliff family, and the reality of making the move has hit home. Can they really face leaving behind everything they have in the UK? It's decision time.
Jimmy Cliff needed to make a drastic change after 18 months struggling to find work as a bricklayer in Leeds.
At one point we was at brink of having to sell the house due to financial issues.
He had to try to persuade his wife Nicola, but everything fell apart when they saw the kind of properties they could afford.
I want to be happy in the home. At the moment, it's making me doubt even wanting to come out.
Jimmy discovered that he could get regular work and a good wage, but to achieve the home they want, it just wouldn't be enough.
Can't do
It's
it.
not even workable. This could be enough to just stop it all now.
They fell in love with the lifestyle, but the pain of leaving loved ones threatened to overpower them.
Don't leave.
With all this in mind, the Cliff family are faced with the hardest decision of their lives. Jimmy has found what he's looking for.
This, to be fair, is the dream. It's beautiful here. The kids are loving every second of it. There is a fear of making the wrong decision, but that's life in general. There's no guarantees. It's just where your heart takes you, I suppose.
But Nicola is far from convinced they can afford it at all.
It's a terrifying thought to think that we'd be stuck at the other side of the world, not being able to potentially feed the children and get them the basic things that they need. It's no good having a beach and the sea if you can't provide food on the table.
Jimmy regrets not spending his mum's last moments with her.
When I lost my mum, I kind of beat myself up in a way because for never saying goodbye there, I kind of vowed to myself that I wouldn't let that happen again.
If he moves to Australia, he fears he might never again see the grandmother who brought him up.
Where's it hurt? I always thought I'd be, you know, if worst comes to worst, I would be there at the side of my nana. And at the end of the day, I've got my family to care for now, and I need to do what's best for those. It don't mean I love her any less.
Nicola's heart is torn in two.
Australia has a lot to offer, but the UK has my life, and the last 30 years have been there, and I don't think you can ever really imagine leaving it behind and just not having everyone and everything you knew.
But it's time for them to face the harsh reality. When it comes to it, they need to know they really can leave everyone they love behind in search of a better future in Australia. How will they vote?
It's been a really hard week. We've had a lot of highs and lows.
The lifestyle here in Australia is incredible, but unfortunately it does come with a price.
So our final decision is...
Australia!
Connor, Reese and Ethan still haven't been convinced.
I would have chosen Australia. It's just seen all the emotions that our family's had, and it's made me change my idea.
But Nicola's come round, and despite leaving everyone, she's willing to give it a go.
I do think it's the best thing for everyone. If we can work our way around the money, there is a lot of places in Australia, so maybe we have to look a bit wider field, but I do think we can make it work.
I'm glad we're on the same page. Makes a nice change.
After a roller coaster week, Nicola and Jimmy have some persuading still to do. But if they're determined, there's a chance that their Australian dream might just become a reality.
Sporting trivia tonight. Golden Girl of British Athletics, Jessica Ennis, joined Sue Barker and the regulars for a question of sport at 10:35. The buyer who has to make the level best of a sloping property on Homes Under the Hammer next today.